Warning: the following review contains spoilers.
Wales, Wales, Wales. Home to Richard Burton, Michael Sheen, and Shakin' Stevens.
Oh, goodness gracious. Right.
As Russell T Davies is a Welsh native, it is only fitting for him to get some of his episodes in Wales to get a free holiday. I do the same myself. Go to Wales. Oh, I'm not Welsh. I just have no wish to revisit Shepherd's Bush in a hurry, never mind spend the holiday there. Our story, 73 Yards, starts with the Doctor and Ruby in a picturesque Welsh clifftop, where the Doctor drops in a quote about a future dangerous Prime Minister. Steps on the fairy circle, where they discover some scrolls, and one says,
"Rest in peace, Mad Jack."
Suddenly, the Doctor disappears, a strange old woman is at a distance, and no matter how much Ruby tries to talk to the old woman, she can't get close to her. Ruby asks a random walker what the old woman wants.
I haven't met you before, have I?
Well, I don't think so. Have you?
No, that was a different...
And the walker tries, but runs away in terror. Ruby stays in a weird local pub which is acted brilliantly, where the strange old woman makes a local man run away in terror. Ruby goes back to London, and over a long period, the woman is constantly at 73 yards. Even UNIT can't get rid of her.
Disengage.
Eventually, she hears about Roger ap Gwilym and realises what she's needed to do all along and why she's in this predicament.
Mad Jack, they used to call me.
Mad Jack.
Roger ap Gwilym. That's a bad example of the Welsh. Terrifying. The most dangerous Prime Minister in history.
She gets in with his campaign team and stands 73 yards away, encouraging Roger ap Gwilym to run away, resign as MP, and thus narrowly avoiding a nuclear disaster. So far, most fans have been falling over themselves with praise over this episode, some describing it as one of the best New Who episodes, and even certainly one of the best New Who episodes, and I would have to agree. There have been some negatives, of course, as there always is. There's a hell of a lot of naysayers out there that like to knock the episode, not because it wasn't good, because of the following reasons. This wasn't an episode of Doctor Who, it was more like an episode of Inside Number 9.
It's like the time and relative dimension in space. TARDIS.
And this wasn't an episode of Doctor Who, it was more like an episode of Black Mirror. And this wasn't an episode of Doctor Who, it was more like an episode of My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic.
Yes!
By the way, it's none of these. In fact, it's a homage to M.R. James, who was an English medieval scholar and horror writer from the early 20th century. His connections to television were his stories were a staple at the Yuletide season in the 1970s, with the anthology seasons Ghost Stories for Christmas, with The Stores of Barchester, 1971, A Warning to the Curious, 1972, Lost Hearts, 1973, The Treasure of Abbot Thomas, 1974, and The Ash Tree, 1975. Interestingly, Doctor Who writer and actor Mark Gatiss helped to continue the M.R. James theme in Ghost Stories for Christmas in the 2000s, so it's no surprise that RTD has also taken up the mantle in his own inimitable way. It's particularly like the 1972 edition, A Warning to the Curious. Let me elaborate. Picturesque setting, lone main character, something old gets disturbed which brings about a strange entity, bad ending for a main character. Picturesque setting, lone main character, something old gets disturbed which brings about a strange entity, bad ending for a main character. I re-watched A Warning to the Curious again and I found it equally as mesmerising as 73 Yards. A criticism 73 Yards had was that the third act was rushed, but I disagree. The pace of the third act mirrored Ruby's determination to get rid of Roger ap Gwilym, who is expertly played by Aneurin Bernard. He had a simmering, quiet, arrogant, sinister aura about him, unlike an embarrassing, third-rate Dick Dastardly I will not mention.
The strategy, the consciousness.
I don't think so.
Another criticism I noticed was, it didn't make sense at the end. Wow. Look, as with M.R. James, there needs to be a little bit of ambiguity when you finish a story, something to keep you thinking and guessing, and that's exactly what 73 Yards did. It's not Love Island, you know. Interesting fact, because Ncuti Gatwa was still filming Sex Education, it needed to be Dr. Light. Now, because of that, it was the first episode of the series filmed. Considering the limitations of not getting a chance to get to grips with the character, I thought Millie was brilliant. Hats off to you. This was the best episode in the series so far, but it wasn't just the best episode so far, it was.
You were fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Just brilliant. What was that sound? That was the sound of Russell T Davies dropping the mic. Ooh, one last thing. Did you get the reference to the spin-off series?
The war between the land and the sea.
Do you agree or disagree? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to like and lick that subscribe button. And I'll be back soon with my review of Dot and Bubble.